Okay, we're back. We've got our ingredients all mixed up here, and you can see it's kind of got a, maybe you can see it's kind of got a yellow tint to it with that butter all mixed in there. So it looks a lot more like cornmeal than flour. So what Ellie's going to do is she's going to pour the flour mix into the bowl. She forgot what she was doing for a second. She's going to pour the flour mix into the bowl first and get that all in our mixing bowl. Tap that bottom a little bit there. Tap the side of it. Get all that in there. Good. Okay. So I'm going to put this in the sink because we're done with it now. Alright. So now what the directions say to do is for her to make a well in the flour. And again, she's forgotten what the directions say. So what that means is she's going to just put a little hole in the middle. A little bit bigger than that because she wants it to be able to hold 3/4 cup of milk. That sound means our oven is ready, so we need to hurry up.
Second?
So I'm going to help her make this hole there a little bit.
Okay.
And so all we're going to do is, you can see that there's just a little hole. Like a little hole right in the middle of the flour. And we're going to put our milk in there, and then we'll mix our flour around in it. So she's going to pour a 1/2 cup of milk. And she's going to add that 1/2 cup of milk into the hole. Good. And then she's going to do what? What are you going to do next?
1/4 cup.
Why? Why are we doing 1/2 and 1/4?
Because
I thought it said it needed 3/4 cup.
half is 2/4, and then 1 more fourth is 3/4.
Okay, in case you couldn't hear her because she whispered, 1/2 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. And she learned that because she's been paying attention in her math class. She's been working really hard at fractions. So those of you that wonder, when are we ever going to use fractions?
Let's add a little more.
Fractions come in handy when you're cooking. No, that's alright. You didn't spill enough on the floor to worry about and putting more. But what you should do is get a cloth and clean that up off the floor real quick because we don't want to leave milk on the floor and on the cabinets. So make sure you get it all. You left some down there.
Are you recording me?
The whole thing's recorded, kid. You got some dripping off the drawer right here. Look, right there. Nope, there.
That better?
Alright, I guess that'll do. Alright, so the next thing is, and I think I'm going to take over here because this is a really sticky part. So I'm going to let Ellie hold the camera as I start to mix our ingredients. Now, you want to have clean hands because you're messing with food. So if you haven't washed your hands, you should before you get started here. So what our recipe tells us to do is to start to knead the dough with our fingers. So I'm going to put my hands in here and I'm just going to start mixing that flour in the milk. And we're going to just keep mixing it around. Like I said, this is kind of a nasty job. If you don't like getting your hands dirty, you might not want to do this part. But I would say keep in mind
Scrape it up.
that you're going to have biscuits when you get done, so it might be worth it.
It is worth it.
In the end. So yeah, really sticky part here. I'm gonna lose some dough. It's gonna sacrifice a little bit of dough to the cause, and that's okay. That's right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and cut video. As I finish mixing this dough. Well, actually, you know what? We'll just stay here. We'll stay here, and we'll keep rolling as I mix this up. So, all right. What I'm gonna have Ellie do is she's going to take some of the flour, a little measuring cup of the flour, and she's gonna dump it out there on the. You're going to want to use a dry one or just use your hand. And sprinkle some flour on the countertop there. So I can put my dough down there and start rolling it out. And that will help with some of the stickiness that we got going on here too. That's good. I'm going to scrape as much of this off of my hands and into the pile as I can. And then...
You might want to put a little more on top of there, the flour.
It's fine.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of kneading this dough. I'm going to get the flour on there. You see, as we get the flour onto the surface, it starts to stick to the dough and dries everything up a little bit, makes everything a little less sticky. And it starts to come right off of your hands and make everything a little bit easier to mess with here. So once we get all of the dough on there, we're just going to move it around a little bit. And this is kind of kneading the dough. We don't want to do this too much, just a little bit, just to make sure we got a good, throw me a little more flour down there, kid. A little more. Come on.
I know.
Throw it down there. There you go. So, like I said, we don't want to mix too much. Just want to make sure everything is good and ready. Here in a second, I'm going to
wash your hands.
Use the rolling pin. I'm going to roll this out, and I want it to be, you know, maybe about 1/4 inch thick, not too thick. I might go a little bit thicker, maybe 1/2 inch. And I'm going to move some of this stuff out of my way here. Can you see what's going on? Mm-hmm. All right, so now I'm going to take my rolling pin. I'm going to roll my dough out. And like I said, I want this to be
yummy.
Maybe about 1/4 inch thick, 1/2 inch thick. And if you just kind of look at a ruler, you can see about what 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch is. So there we go. Now, I've got this cup. It's just a little drinking cup the kids use, and I'm going to use that